What's going on, everybody? I hope you're enjoying your Tuesday morning so far. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I'm going to talk about the news that just broke this morning from ESPN's Jordan Raanan. The New York Giants seem extremely committed to signing Saquon Barkley, running back Saquon Barkley, to a long-term deal this offseason, coupled with the fact that the team is also committed to signing quarterback Daniel Jones to a long-term deal. Obviously, the team has identified that Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones are essential to bringing back this team on long-term deals because of how important both these guys are to the team heading forward into 2023 and beyond. And they said they seem committed. That's the key word right there. Committed. You obviously got some mixed signals at that press conference that Schoen did a couple of weeks ago when he was not talking as, strongly about Saquon Barkley as he was some of the other players on the team. It's a tricky thing, though. Okay. Obviously, Giants fans, when they hear this news, they're jumping for joy. I want Barkley too. I do. The fan in me says, let's go. That's the right move. Bring Barkley back. But how much are you willing to pay for him per year? You got to think about that also from the objective type of view. How much are you willing to go in order to bring Saquon Barkley back on a long-term deal? Because here's the thing. Saquon Barkley, as much as he wants to be a Giant, as much as he loves being a New York Giant, he's not going to take a team-friendly deal. He's going to go out there and still try to get a good contract because this is his one chance right now, coming off a very strong year last year, to be able to get paid top dollar money from a running back position. Not saying he's going to set the market. Not saying he's going to go out there and command like 18, 20 million per year. But he's already said he's expressed interest in getting Christian McCaffrey type money, which is around 16 mil. Can the New York Giants and Saquon Barkley some way work together on maybe like a $14 million $14 million year deal between the two on a 3-year deal? Would you be willing to do a 3-year, 21 million or 3-year, $40 million deal? Would you be willing to do that? That's what it would take. Or 42. That would be about 14 mil per year. Are the Giants willing to go that far for a deal like that? We'll have to wait and see. This is a very, very, very tricky slope that the Giants are going to be working right now because of the fact that they are committed to signing Saquon Barkley long term. And I mentioned it before. The most important date for the New York Giants is March 7th. That is the date that the Giants have to decide on a franchise tag. That is the franchise tag deadline. Now, obviously, the team feels more confident that they will be able to reach a long-term deal with Daniel Jones in free agency. That's why they are prioritizing right now, trying to get Saquon Barkley locked up to a long-term deal. Because they feel that Saquon Barkley is the trickier of the two. And if you can get Barkley locked up to a long-term deal and Jones locked up to a long-term deal without having to use that franchise tag and without putting too much money into both these guys, you can be able to go out there and make some moves for some other players to improve this football team in the offseason. Would Saquon Barkley be willing to take a $14 million deal? He's already expressed that he's turned down a $12 million per year contract earlier on in the offseason. And you have to wonder, Saquon Barkley just turned 26 recently. He's 26-year-old, coming off a very strong season, but he's also a player that has dealt with severe injuries in his career. How much money are you willing to commit to Saquon Barkley right now in free agency? Are you willing to give Saquon Barkley the type of big money that he's going to be looking for on the free agent market? That's one of the trickiest things right now about the New York Giants and the position they're in. Obviously, Saquon Barkley means so much to this damn football team. He is the heart and soul of the New York Giants. The heart and soul. There's nobody on that team right now that has more heart, more drive, and means more in terms of the collective fire and heart of that team than Saquon Barkley does. You can argue Daniel Jones too, which is fine. But to me, Saquon Barkley is the engine. Daniel Jones is the driver. Saquon Barkley is the engine. And the offensive line is the car. But either way, the Giants have to be smart about how they're going to put together this contract. Because the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to try and go be too desperate because you're afraid of losing Saquon Barkley. That you're going to overpay for him. Give him way too much money. Depending on how they structure that contract too. Because I'm really curious to see how they're going to structure that contract. Are they going to backload it? Are they going to front load it? Are they going to structure it in the middle? And how many years and how much money per year are you going to be willing to give Saquon Barkley on a deal? That's what I'm really curious about. Because I think Saquon Barkley, right now, all Saquon Barkley needs to do, he's trying to go out there and he wants to be a Giant. Just like Daniel Jones wants to be a Giant. You just have to make sure the money works because you might be committed to signing somebody. You might want to bring somebody back. You might think it's a necessity to bring somebody back. It doesn't mean you're actually going to be able to bring them back. Because this is the NFL. You're in the negotiation period. You're in the quote-unquote silly period of the NFL. This is where you're going to hear ridiculous rumors. This is where you're going to start seeing ridiculous contract offers. This is where you're going to start seeing all the ridiculousness. Because we're literally probably tomorrow, it's a month away from free agency in the NFL. That's when the wildness starts beginning and you see money being thrown all over the place for players that probably don't deserve the type of money that they're going to get. But Saquon Barkley is one of those guys that does deserve a big-time deal, and I don't blame him for wanting to go out there and get a big deal. But I find it very interesting that the Giants are extremely committed to signing Saquon Barkley long-term. Which makes sense. Saquon Barkley is so vital to this team. And while I understand, and it's a very tricky situation like with Daniel Jones, I understand those that feel that Saquon Barkley is not worth the money that he might be getting because he's a running back, and the running back position is devalued now compared to what it was years ago. But at the same time, he's the best player on your offense. He's the engine of your offense. He's the heart and soul of that locker room. He's the face of that team. It's still Saquon Barkley. It's not Daniel Jones. You could say they have two faces of the team with Jones and Barkley. To me, Saquon Barkley is still the face of that franchise. So, I'm just curious to see how Joe Schoen and Saquon Barkley's representatives are going to find a way to come to some type of resolution and some type of an agreement on a contract that's going to make sense for both teams, both parties, as well as how are you going to structure that deal. I really am. Because that's one of the most important things about it. It's not just the years. It's not just the money per year. It's how you structure that contract when you put it together. Because if you can find a way to structure it in the proper way, where you're not overpaying for a player, you're not underpaying for a player, that can go a long way on the future of what you're going to do with that player going forward. I think most likely the Giants are going to probably put the money towards the middle. I believe that NYG22, an unpopular opinion sports, made that point too. I think they're going to try to put the money somewhere in the middle, though I could see them front-loading the deal. Give him his money early, and then let the money play out towards the back end. Rather what they did with Kenny Golladay in free agency last year, where they backloaded his deal. And now we're stuck with all that big money, although we're going to be able to try to get out of it sometime before March 18th or the June 1st post-cut deadline. Am I surprised at all about the news that just broke? About the Giants committed to signing Saquon Barkley? Absolutely not. When you have a running back that scored 10 touchdowns rushing the ball, when you have a running back that's had 1,200 yards rushing or more, when you have a running back that means as much to the New York Giants franchise as Saquon Barkley does, that doesn't really surprise me at all. But at the same time, you have to wonder, is this a Joe Schoen call? Or is this a John Mara call? Because John Mara has not been afraid to put his 2 cents into what he thinks is best for the New York Giants. So you have to wonder. And like I said, it's silly season right now with the rumors. Is this Joe Schoen's call to be fully committed on signing Barkley no matter what it takes to bring him back? Or is this an ownership call because John Mara says he pretty much cannot afford to lose Saquon Barkley in free agency? That's what you have to wonder. That is the one thing you have to think about going forward when you hear a report like this. Because football-wise, it makes absolute sense to bring back Saquon Barkley. But I'm just giving you an objective, different view. Does it make sense financially? And are you willing to give him whatever it takes to keep him a New York Giant because you feel he's just that irreplaceable player? Or are you going to be willing to try to structure a deal that makes sense for both parties going forward? You guys let me know in the comment section what you think about this news, about the New York Giants fully committed to signing Saquon Barkley to a long-term deal, what you would like to see the contract put together be, and how many years, and if you agree with this report and you think it's going to happen in free agency. Give me your objective views, not Giants fans' view. Just let me know in the comment section. And of course, hit that like button if you haven't already, and turn on the bell for notifications the next video or short dropping on the channel. I hope all you guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Take it easy, and as always, let's go New York Football Giants. Together blue, everyone.